So it's an appropriate time to bring in my first guest and to get right to that. Congressman Roger Williams of Texas's 25th District, chairman of the House Committee on Small Business. And Congressman, before we go to the other topics, the news at the end of the day yesterday, the 9 Republicans who joined with Democrats to stop the agenda of the Trump agenda for the week. And I'll go to audio for you by Speaker Johnson on what happened yesterday. Let's play this.
Well, it's a very disappointing result on the floor there. A handful of Republicans joined with all the Democrats to take down a rule. That's rarely done. It's very unfortunate in this case. 96% of House Republicans voted against proxy voting because they believe it's unconstitutional and they agree that it would open a Pandora's box. And so that's what we just saw. Let me just make this clear. That rule being brought down means that we can't have any further action on the floor this week. That means we will not be voting on the SAVE Act for election integrity. We will not be voting on the rogue judges who are attacking President Trump's agenda. We will not be taking down these terrible Biden policies with the CRA votes. All that was just wiped off the table. It's very unfortunate. We'll regroup and come back, and we'll have to do this again.
Congressman, your reaction to what happened in the House yesterday?
Well, I think the Speaker said it very well. I mean, the fact of the matter is we had 9 members vote against the rule, which turned everything upside down. You know, I didn't vote for it because I don't believe it is constitutional. But plus, I think you start it with one group, and then pretty soon you have it with another, and you find people giving their voting cards away to people that weren't elected in their districts. And, you know, I mean, I've missed some votes because of health reasons in my family, and others have the same story. But if you do, you miss your vote. I mean, we can't be having proxy voting for various groups, and that's one reason I voted against it.
The reaction of the Democrats as the vote was completed, I believe, says a lot. They stood and cheered. They were able to slow down the Trump agenda, as the Speaker outlined there. And this was what Anna Paulina Luna, the Florida representative who wanted the proxy voting, posted on X. I am 100% supportive of Trump's agenda. It is disingenuous to lie about me or the others, Speaker Johnson. Thank you, X, for clarifying. Steve Scalise and Speaker Johnson did not have to send us home. And from the outside looking in, and I have the calendar for the 119th Congress posted here by Majority Leader Steve Scalise. And I get the points of new parents. However, this is an in-person job as I see it, as many Americans see it. Proxy voting was allowed during COVID for the obvious reasons, and that is a false attack against the Speaker by Anna Paulina Luna because that was the rule in place. However, this, when you look at it, the time in Congress, the time off, the time home in the district, many Americans are maybe sympathetic in one form, but asking the question, why not go to work and do the job in D.C.?
Well, that's what we're designed to do. When you run for Congress, you know that if you win, you're going to be spending a lot of time up here voting. That's what it's about. And I just get back to the whole, this is just me talking, but we all have about 1 million people in our district, and we represent 1 million people. And if I'm not there, I turn my voting card over to someone else on proxy. The people didn't vote for me or the people I represent, that's not what they wanted. So this is not like it's a new concept, and it's not in the Constitution. You have proxy voting, and it's just a bad precedent to start. These are all good people we're talking about that care about their country, but it's a disagreement. You know what the job is when you run for it, and when you win it, you do the job.
Hey, look, the average American, I think, is sympathetic to the idea of a new mom. There may be understanding of a new dad, obviously, because the difference is right there. And corporations give a certain time off, but there are some jobs and many jobs across America where time off is up to a certain point, and it may even be different for the man and the woman. This doesn't seem to fall into that category. Many Congress members have residences of some form in Washington, D.C., and, understandably, the demand is that, people go in and do their job when elected to Congress.
Well, exactly. And I don't want to be harsh or anything, but we got so much going on up here, David. We got to get this Trump agenda done. We got to cut taxes. We got to cut regulations. We got to get the border secure. We got to, find out what we're going to do with Ukraine. And we got all this happening. It's got to happen quick. And 75 million people voted for President Trump because that's what they wanted. This was never in discussion, and we need to get on with the agenda. And if you're not capable of being here to vote, then that's what happens. I mean, like I said, personally, I've had family sicknesses. I didn't miss votes, or I didn't I missed some votes, but that was what it was. I didn't ask for a pass and have somebody vote for me up here.
My guest, Congressman Roger Williams from Texas's 25th District. Now to the initial topic ahead of the breaking news. You're on the House Committee on Small Business. Of course, we've got the president later today in the Rose Garden at 4 p.m., Liberation Day, as he has named it, and the goal to balance the trade relationship with many nations that tariff the U.S. at a much higher rate than we tariff them. The protectionist policies of other nations, the subsidized policies of every other nations, not that we don't subsidize industries here as well, but the idea that we need a better and fairer balanced system. What do you say to Liberation Day and its effect or potential effect on small businesses?
We should not have these deficits we got with these other countries. I mean, David, we need to be the seller of, we need to be the maker of, and that's what President Trump is trying to get us to and will get us to. We want people to bring jobs back. We want people to bring jobs they haven't had to America because, their taxes, their ability to generate profits and margins for shareholders and workers is greater here than it is anywhere else. And we shouldn't have these deficits, and I think the tariffs are going to work. I'm in the car business, David. I think you know that. For 57 years, I've been in the car business, so I'll be affected by tariffs as a small business owner. But I'm not fearful of it because just the car industry alone will make it work. I mean, if you have dealers like me, then we have inventory that's priced too high. We'll discount it. The customers will get that discount. The customers will get the benefit of a tax credit we're going to pass. They're going to get the benefit of higher used car prices, which create more equity, more down payment for them. And at the end of the day, very well could be a situation where a customer after today could buy a car with a tariff on it cheaper than they could without a tariff. So our industry will survive and be fine. We've had this before. We had tariffs in 2016. We made it through there. But the market will generate, and market will bring prices down and cost of goods down in its own way. But I think the consumer, like I said, could even benefit from this.
My guest, Congressman Roger Williams, Texas's 25th District. So let's talk about unleashing Main Street, deregulation, fueling this golden age of America.
Well, look, regulations have been choking Main Street America since Biden came on. I've even heard you talk about these numbers, but, I think almost $1.73 trillion worth of regulations since Biden came out on Main Street America, almost 300 million man hours to comply. I mean, small businesses don't have lawyers. They don't have accountants. They've been choked to death. They've taken away risk and reward, which is what built this country. Main Street, too, is ready. I mean, Main Street, they talk about it, Main Street's fearful of these tariffs. Main Street is anxious for tax cuts and deregulation because now when you have deregulation, you don't have to compete against the government. You can compete against your competition down the street, and that's what people want. And who benefits from that is the customer because then they get better service through competition.
The Golden Age hearing that we're talking about in the House Committee on Small Business, what are some of the other focal points?
Well, look, it's about regulations. It's about taxes. It's about opportunity. It's about the things we talked about. And look at everything we do on our committee and everything we do is generated toward Main Street America. And, Main Street and the success of Main Street should not be political. I mean, if no matter who the president is, if you believe in Main Street, you should always be for less regulations, lower taxes, competition, regardless. And that's what we're trying to do. with these hearings is begin to get regulations out of people's life, because it gets back down to the consumer. That's who we all want to help. Everybody says, well, I want to help the consumer. I want to help the little guy. I want to help the middle income person. Well, you do that by creating competition on Main Street, but between businesses, and not for the federal government downsizing and squeezing and driving small businesses out of business.
My guest, Congressman Roger Williams from Texas's 25th District. House is closed for business for the rest of the week, Congressman. Hopefully you can get back on the hearing track in the Committee for Small Business and, frankly, for all the committees up there. Further thoughts now and for you, is it back to the district or waited out? The Senate will probably face their end of the week. Do we see a roundtable of votes there or not as we work our way towards reconciliation?
I'm planning on going back to the district and getting on Main Street and talking to my customers and my friends about what's happening. But I will tell you this, although there's no voting going on up here, we have a hearing today, for example, in the small business. It's an investment hearing on how we can have better cooperation between public sector and private sector to help small business get capital. Access to capital is a real issue, dealing with angel investors and so forth, and make the private sector and the public sector come together to create an environment where small business can borrow money and do some things that they haven't been able to do. So we're actually going to be working today, going to have a good hearing. We've got good witnesses, and we'll start that hearing about 10 o'clock and see if we can't come up with some issues to help Main Street as we move this agenda forward.
Well, Congressman, I appreciate your time. I know you're busy getting ready for this hearing. We'll be keeping a close eye on this. Main Street needs the help in America, and we've got to get it to them.
Thank you, David. Honored.